Hello, I'm Aarti, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science, Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science. In this lecture, we are going to see about the introduction to Pandas in Python. So let us just begin with what is Pandas. Pandas is actually an open source Python library which is used for the data analysis and for many machine learning tasks. If you see, the name pandas is actually derived from the word panel data, and pandas is actually built in the top of another package called numpy. This supports the multi-dimensional arrays. Before pandas, Python has had very little support towards data analysis, and actually using the pandas we can accomplish different ways of processing, analyzing and visualizing a large volume of data. This can actually load the data from different files. It can prepare it, it can manipulate it, it can create models and analyze the data. And this pandas is actually it is used in wide range of fields like finance, economics, statistics, analytics and etc. Pandas makes it simple to do many time consuming and repetitive tasks, and it is fast and efficient for manipulating and analyzing the data. This can actually load the data from different file objects, and this can handle the missing data. It can handle the messy data, it can clean the data, and it can make them readable, and it can create all the relevant data, the needed and relevant data to be present there. And this pandas library provides time series functionality, and it also has a powerful group by functionality for performing the split, apply, combine operations on the data sets. So to use pandas, we need to actually install the pandas library. The standard Python distribution does not come bundled with pandas module. So the pandas has to be installed. This can be installed on Windows and as well as the Linux platform. There are multiple ways to install the pandas library into the system. Here I am going to just mention we can install the pandas in Windows using the pip command. Pip is actually is a package management system. This is actually used to install and manage the software packages and libraries in Python. These kind of software packages or libraries are stored in a large online repository, and that repository is it's termed as the Python package index. So using pip command we can install the pandas library into our system. So the command is pip install pandas. We need to type this in the command interpreter and you press enter. After typing the command, you press the enter key. The pandas library will be installed into your system. And once installed, to use the pandas library, we have to import the pandas library into our program. So the statement import pandas spd has to be given in, it has to be, this statement has to be present in your program. This PE is nothing but an alias name. It's optional. It is we just need to specify. We have specified here just to which this just helps to write less code into our program. So if to use the pandas library into your program, you have to use the import pandas statement into your program. The pandas has two main data structures, which is the first one is series, and this series is nothing but the one-dimensional array-like structure. And the array, how the array will support only homogeneous data, the similar way the series also can have only homogeneous data. And the size of the series is immutable, and the values of this series are mutable. The size cannot be changed, but the values are mutable. So series is a one-dimensional array-like structure, and it can have only homogeneous data. The second data structure is the data frame. Both the series and data frame both supports. These are the two main data structures in the pandas for manipulating the data. So data frame is a two-dimensional array-like structure, and unlike your series, this data frame supports heterogeneous data. You can imagine the data frame as a table with rows and columns. And the size of the data frame is mutable, and the values of the data frame is also mutable here. So here let us see how to create the series. So to creating the series, we have a constructor called series. So pandas.series, and it takes the arguments data, index, dtype, and copy. So the data is the one which is mandatory here. The data argument data is mandatory here, and here this data can be from an array, list, and constants like that. And index, by default the index values will start from index, dtype, copy. These three arguments are optional, and the index argument, if you by default it will be from 0, 1, 2, and 3, but if you want to change the index values, then you can use this index argument. But you have to remember that the index values must be unique. Okay. And dtype specifies the data type, and copy is the copy data. By default the value will be false. So here this particular table is an example. This is, say for example, we need to create a series for this kind of data. Here A, B, C, and D is the data, and the index values is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So let's see an example code for how to create a series of this particular data. So first we have to start with the import statement. Import pandas SPD, and here I have a list named as data, and the values in the list are A, B, C, and D, and I am going to create a series S here. So S equal to PD dot series of data. So that means I am creating the series from the list data, and then I print the series S. So this is how the output you'll have. The 0, 1, 2, and 3, these are the index values, and A, B, C, D here are the values into the series. So A has the index 0, B has the index 1, C has the index 2, and D has the index value 3. And if you want to change this index value, here you can actually specify and the index here, comma index equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, or any unique values you can specify it. So next we will see how to create the data frame. So data frame is a two-dimensional data, so it can be imagined in the form of a table with the rows and columns here. So here if you say for example this table, we have two this is the for 3 columns here. This is the index value. We have the name as one column and age as another column. The index values is actually by default each of the rows will have the index values here. So here name and age are the 2 columns here, and here we have the first row, the values Ram and 17. Second and third rows, we have 3 values in 3 different rows here. And say for example we need to create a data frame of this form, then data frames can be also created using a constructor called as data frame. Okay, so pandas.data frame, you have to use the constructor pandas.data frame. The similar way like series, the data frame constructor also has a few arguments that can be passed. So it's same with data, index, columns, dtype, and copy. So like series data, it can be from dictionary, array, list, and constants. Index is unique values. Again, you can change the index values here. and here the columns. So this columns is nothing but if you want to specify the column names, then you can use these columns. So here we have the column name and age. So we can specify the first column name to be name, the second column name to be age. So that can be specified here in this argument called as the columns. And d type is the data type and copy is the copy data. So for creating the data frame, again we need to import pandas SPD, and data we have here we have an nested list data wherein we have the three different sublist here, and data frame, we are creating a data frame here, df equal to pd.data frame of data comma columns equal to name comma age. So when I specify like this, columns equal to name comma age, you can see here when the output, this first column has the column name and the second column has the column name age. So this way we can actually create the different the series and data frames in pandas. So the basic introduction about the pandas is mainly used for manipulating the data to make the to do the data analysis part, and for that particular data analysis that supports it has two main data structures, series and data frames. Thank you.